So, I'm a little bit late to the Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City, but please don't go! Because I thought it was quite a good film. Now, I've wrote quite a lot of notes, but I've wrote some notes just to kind of give my review on it, really. Now, I've seen loads of people reviewing it, and I think the main thing I see is people are looking at the film with, this is going to sound stupid, but they're looking at it and reviewing it, analysing, whatever you want to call it, with a Resident Evil brain. Now, what I mean by that, if I can somehow word this, is they're going in knowing what Resident Evil is, i.e. the games predominantly. So when they're watching it, they're like, no, that doesn't happen, no, that doesn't happen, no, this should have happened, that should have happened. You shouldn't watch it like that. And that's what I learnt with the original live adaptation back in, 2001 up until, thankfully, when it ended. And that's what I learnt with those films. Don't watch it knowing what the games are about. Watch it for what the film is. Because in the end of the day, they're based on the Resident Evil franchise. They're basically adaptations. So instead of me waffling on about how you should watch a bloody film, let me talk to you about the things that I observed. I want to get onto one of the first things I noticed about the film, which is Leon Kennedy. I do agree with what a lot of the reviewers have said. They just turned him into a goofball. They kept the same thing, first down the job, rookie. Well, not the first down the job, but they kept him as a rookie. But I've wrote it down here, he was too much, he was too much like a prick. He was kind of, he was the clown. There was no seriousness to him. There was no, character development for him. He was just kind of there. Now, I don't care with the actor that played him. I'm not really bothered about the aesthetics of him. I just don't like the way they portrayed him. They could have done so much more with him. There was essences of where I thought, you know what, that's not too bad. They could have worked it a bit more. But his screen time was really damn short as well. I mean, I know the Welcome to Raccoon City was, 1, 2, and 3, the games that is. But they just didn't do anything with him. Even his redemption shot at the very end. Now, there is going to be spoilers. I need to say this right now. There will be spoilers, because I'm about to spoil it now. But either the end shot, the redemption shot when he's got the rocket launcher, they ruined it. They didn't need to give him that line he says before he goes, pa-ching, ruined it. Don't get why they did that. And he's one of my favourite characters in the game, because his development from first down the job to saving the president's daughter, beautiful. And I just think they could have done more with him. Even something silly when he was running in the orphanage and he's got the gun like that. That was very Charlie's Angels. I don't know why I did that. But they just could have done a bit more. Another character I thought, why, was Ben, the reporter. Now, in the game, obviously, he's in the prison cell, just like in the film, and even in the remake game. But in this one, I don't know if it was just down to the actor trying to get in this weird kind of stalkery kind of paranoid man, but his acting, I thought, was god awful. He looked really good. He had a good he looked like Ben. If you know Resident Evil, you'd know this character. But I don't know if it's just the way he was acting, but he just seemed a bit bored. His delivery was just I can't even explain it. Even The Room's got better acting than this.
I did not hit her. It's not true. It's bullshit. I did not hit her. I did not. Oh, hi, Mark.
In the original game and the remake, he had kind of a cockiness, a bit of an arrogance to him. Didn't have that in this one, and I hated it. The way he died, wasn't a fan of that. First game, but the original RE2, again, I'm going to keep doing that because that's amazing. His death was great in that, but then in the second one, in the remake, that was horrific, in a good way. But then I'm going to move on to Lisa Trevor. I was a bit confused. Now, I've tried not to do reading into this because I want it to be a raw reaction, but I did not understand what they did with Lisa Trevor. I'm not going to go into backstories. She was essentially, to cut a very long story short, she was experimented on so much that she just mutated horrifically. The aesthetics, the bond that she had with Chris and Claire, didn't get it. No, I was really confused with that. I mean, it was cool, but I think this is where I was still trying to tell myself, it's not the game. I've got to look at it from a different point of view, and it really did throw me. Then I thought maybe it's because she was experimented on, and then they were potentially going to be experimented on, so she kept an eye on him. Just kind of like how she should have been looked after. Maybe it was that sort of thing, just looking after him, brother and sister, maternal bond, I don't know. But it was a bit weird. And when she, spoiler, killed the licker, that was amazing, but it looked really weird. I think, again, trying to separate the game from the film, but when you see what she does in the film, she was hitting it the way she normally does, in the game. I don't know, it was just weird. I couldn't take it seriously. It was comically weird. I don't know. I liked how she looked, I just wasn't, that one threw me. That one threw me a lot. One character that initially baffled me, but then I enjoyed the development, was Wesker. Now, the actor that played him, I do actually quite like him. I forgot his bloody name. The way he portrayed Wesker was very different to what we're used to. Like, Wesker's normally really very convicted in what he says, he's very stern, very serious. But this one had a more human element to it. And again, separating it from the game, so spoiler, in the game, Wesker is engineered, so to speak, where in this one, he isn't until the very end when there's a twist. I really enjoyed how he developed from going, like, he was a bit of a double agent in a way. The thing that baffled me was that the arc between him and Jill, didn't expect that. I always thought it was Chris and Jill, not Wesker and Jill. But I really liked it because it showed you, I guess, a human element to a character that, for the most part, he's not human. He's just out to do what he needs to do. He doesn't have emotion, so to speak. But it was a bit weird. And then, like I said, the ending part, that was cool. I like that. Or the post-credits, sorry. That's when it shows you the experimented side of him. And that's when you see Ada Wong. Her one little part of the film was better than the entirety of Leon Kennedy's. There's an Easter egg in it, which I thought was cool with Wesker. Because Wesker, if you know the game, blonde slick back hair, glasses. Now in this film, it doesn't have the blonde slick back hair, but it did get the glasses and it was perfect. Kind of gave it a reason why there's glasses in it. But in the film, Ada tells him to put them on because he's obviously been mutated or genetically enhanced or whatever, and his eyes are sore. It's pretty awesome. But we're going to move away from characters. Like I said, there's loads you could review on it, but these were just things that stood out to me. The one thing I did like was Raccoon City itself. Now, normally it's like just a normal town, a normal city, that sort of thing. But this one had such a Silent Hill vibe to it. It just made it that little bit more scary. Like, you could actually imagine that this big corporations underneath it. You know what I mean? You could imagine that someone's actually down there doing all these experiments. It's bloody brilliant. I did see that there's a guy I watch. I'll link him because he is entertaining, to be fair. Dreamcast guy. I think it was Dreamcast guy. If it's not, I do apologise, my man. He was moaning about that there wasn't enough zombies. Initially, when I watched it, the film didn't have a great, massively humongous box office budget. That's evident down to things like the makeup for the zombies, like the prosthetics they were wearing. Some of them were good, some of them were a bit ugh. And then some of the CG was a bit ugh. He did say that there wasn't enough zombies for a zombie film, but if you look at the original zombie games, Resident Evil games, there isn't a lot of zombies because it was a horror. It's putting you in circumstances, situations that you wouldn't normally be in, and how would you react? But with this one, I thought the zombie displacement, I thought that was perfect, to be fair. I really thought there was just the right amount. There's a part. Yeah, I've wrote it on a different page. I've also got one more character I want to discuss. I forgot about this one. But what I like with the zombie displacement, so to speak, was it felt natural. It didn't feel like the original bloody live adaptations when Alice is chained to that tank and it's just like a horde of zombies, like millions of them. That was stupid. But this one, because it's the start of the apocalypse, so to speak, there isn't going to be that many, and I quite enjoyed that. I thought that was really cool, especially with the Silent Hill vibe kind of town, because it was like an old miners' town. Brilliant, I loved it. Yeah, I put it there as it's the start of the apocalypse, so the way it kind of all fell apart, that was really good. Especially when you see there's a woman. It's when you first see Leon and is it the Bravo team, Alpha team? I always forget, but Wesker's team at the beginning in the film. It's when you first see them together, and Leon notices that one of the waitresses' eyes start bleeding. She's like, "Oh, it's been like that for weeks," and you're like, oh. And that's when Claire later on finds the link between the water and why isn't Chris ill and all this. Honestly, it's a great film. But let's move on. The character I forgot, William Birkin. Now, the guy that played him, the actor, he's in everything, but I always forget his name, so I'm going to put a picture of him up. Again, this is where you've got to separate your brain from the game. I'm rhyming. You've got to separate your Resident Evil knowledge of the games to the film, because it's not the game. I just want to make that clear, it's not the game. So this William Birkin, the premises is still the same. He's working on these different things, these different bioweaponry, the T-virus, the antivirus, the G-virus, you name it. He's working on them, right? So that's still the same. But the thing that confused me was the whole orphanage kind of works, really. He's working in the orphanage, but he experiments on the children, hence Lisa Trevor. And that threw me because in the game, he works with Wesker, and then he goes off to do his own thing, then dies. Comes back as the big monsters, that sort of thing. But this one, it threw me, but at the same time, I actually enjoyed it because it gave it much more of a darker, ooh, this is a bit nasty, you know what I mean? It gave it such a sinister vibe, here's this guy, he's doing all these experiments, in theory, to try and make humans more, to make the next race of humans, isn't it, really? And yeah, that was a bit of a weird one. It's scary, but I enjoyed it, especially with the link between him knowing the Redfields. But just like Leon, he should have had more screen time. His character didn't get enough development. Granted, in the games as pre-mutated, he doesn't get that much screen time because he gets shot a lot. But it was enjoyable. And now, spoilers. When he mutated, the first mutation, I really enjoyed that. Though he did remind me of the bad guy out of, what was it? The series that came out on Netflix. The animated one. Dark Fate? No, that's Terminator. I forgot what it is. But he reminded me of the bad guy in that, just like with the way it's all like bony and stuff. And the fact that he didn't just have the one eye, he had fucking 20 eyes on him. But I love the first transformation. Even to the last transformation he does, it looked a bit weird. Like, it looked like one of them, is it anglofishes? he looked really weird. But at the same time, it scared the shit out of me, so I really enjoyed that. So I said about the many eyes on him. Now, in the Resident Evil games, generally the bosses have a weakness and it's always highlighted. So, William Birkin, if you shoot him in, like, there's a massive eye on his arm. If you shoot him in that, it weakens him. And in this one, there's loads of them, and it's not until the very end, where they're on like a train or something, that Chris Redfield realises, holy shit, shoot him in the eyes. Now, that was a good reference, but I really enjoyed that. It just showed you, like, it felt too quick. So going from injecting himself with the, was it the T virus or whatever it was? Injecting him with the G virus? G1, G3? Yeah, G virus, I'm sure it is. Someone will correct me. But when he injects himself with it, no, he gets his wife to do it, sorry. See, I've got so much in my head. But I liked how, I didn't like, how quick it went from, I guess, Form 1 to Form 2. There was no real fight. It was just kind of like, it happened. And I think they wasted a bit there. But again, if you don't have the budget, oh, that was another thing, actually. I think it was Dreamcast guy. He was talking about the runtime. I think the runtime was good. It was a good long film. It's like just shy of 2 hours, but there's no way you can fit everything in to please everyone. But I like what they did. But I definitely think Birkin should have had a lot more. Like, a shit ton more time. Like, just for a battle, really. But they didn't. So let's move on to, what's my next one? References. So, dust off the old flat cap. Not even a flat cap, it's a top hat. Let's put it on. So some of the references that I picked up on were brilliant. There was a lot of references to throw in there, i.e. when Jill takes Wesker's sandwich, you say it's Jill's sandwich, and you're like, way! That was brilliant. Burger and the driver. The blonde doll that you see in the orphanage, brilliant, scary doll. I really don't ever want to see one of them in real life. The fact that Jill was wearing her blue kind of tank top thing underneath her vest, love that one. Some of the other ones, you know, like the keys you get in the game. This is the keys you get for the police station. You know, you've got the diamond, the club, the spade and the hearts, obviously the different suits and cards. I like that, but really nerdy, or not even nerdy, really annoyed me that. I'm sure the circle she put it in on the wall, the keyhole, it was like pink and she put like the green key in it. Couldn't handle that. I was like, at least do the same colour. But that was a good one. But there was two that really stuck out for me were, and then they're going to be obvious. One of them will be. The one that I was like, yeah, but they did that justice. They didn't go over the top with it. Was the first zombie in the mansion? Because if you played RE1, there's a part where the zombie slowly turns his head, frightens the shit out of him, and the person he's eating, his head drops on the floor and slightly rolls. They didn't put that part in, but they did get the zombie slowly turning around, looking at the camera, and that was one of the zombies that looked good with the makeup. Some of them, it looked like 1972, was it? Dawn of the Dead or something. But I really like that reference. The Easter egg, it was a nod to the game. But the other one, and I had to stop the film, rewind it and just have a look at it again, was seeing Hunk. I do love Hunk. He's amazing. He makes me smile. Seeing Hunk was brilliant because he doesn't get a lot of time in the game unless you unlock it all and you do like the time event thing. But he's quite important in the background, more so in the novels. But there's a part where Chief Irons is trying to escape and he goes down like this road and there's people trying to get through with like a barricade, and all of a sudden everyone's getting shot by these, I'll just call them officers, so to speak, but they're wearing masks. Then it does like a kind of a quick close-up of Hunk, and I was like, that's Hunk? And my wife was like, who's that? I was like, what? What did you just say? I got, yeah, offended is what I got. But loved it because of all the characters they could have mentioned. Like Kendo wasn't even mentioned. He didn't even see shot. That annoyed me. But yeah, seeing Hunk was brilliant because he is a very favourable character in the franchise. But overall, I think the one thing that I would like is to know what the film was going for, the director even, because there was humorous elements in it. Like Leon was just basically the clown of the film. But then there was really good horror and then a lot of seriousness in there. I think if they took away, like, the humour in it was good because you can imagine it being real, but it just felt it didn't feel organic, you know, it felt forced, especially how like Irons is treated, well, everyone treats Leon really, it just didn't feel right. But then you get all them crap parts And then you get one of the best scenes in the whole film, I think, where Chris, I think Dreamcast guy touched on this, but there's a part where Chris is shooting all these zombies, fighting zombies in the mansion, and he literally goes from assault rifle to handgun to knife and a lighter, and like you don't really see a whole lot of it because it's dark, so you just see the flash of the gun, the blood splatter, you see zombies falling. Then there's one part where he's literally sitting on the floor and he's got his lighter and he keeps flicking it, and there's a zombie like behind him, and what happens is every time he flicks it on, the zombie's closer and closer until it gets like near enough on his shoulder, he flicks it on again, it's gone. And that was really intense. That was scary to watch. Like genuinely, it was scary to watch. You felt his pressure, you felt his will to survive, you felt how scared he was. It was beautiful. But then, like I said, you go from something really stupid like Leon being a dick, and then you've got the seriousness of Chris Redfield not punching boulders. But then you get the cow. Now me and my wife both looked at each other and burst out laughing on this part, because this is when they drop the bomb, right? But they drop a bomb to blow up Raccoon City, and well the ripples, obviously, you know, the waves from the blast and everything. But there's a bloody cow eating grass and it just kind of flies away. They focus so long on this one shot of Raccoon City blown up, which was brilliant, but they didn't need the cow in it. Why was there a cow? It made no sense. But I think that's where they just need to have worked on it. What is you going for, something that was supposed to be serious or humorous? Now, Resident Evil is not a funny game. It's scary, it's a thriller, it's suspense, it's horror, and I think they just should have really worked on them little things. Oh yeah, so I've said it a couple of times. I had to watch it for what it was, not for what I know Resident Evil is, and it was so much more enjoyable. The references were good. I do like the universe it's set in, so I've missed out quite a lot, like how everything's interlinked. So like it shows you the start of the first game where Wesker's team goes in to get the other team. Little things they've changed worked really well, but because of the universe it's in, like I'd really want to see a sequel to it. Content was good. I did like most of the references, to be fair, but I did like the amount they put in, and it wasn't just in your face. Like the Jill sandwich one was possibly one of the best Easter eggs in the film. That was a silly one from the game. Like it's been mocked so many times. It's even referenced in Revelations 2, I think, in the game. But the way they added that into it, beautiful. A couple of other things I really enjoyed was the camera angles they used. So when they went into the mansion, it was kind of like looking up at them, kind of like how the one poster is, where it's all of them kind of in the shape of the umbrella, but the camera's looking kind of up at them. I really did like their shots. Like I said, the lighter scene, how it's kind of you're on the floor with him. It's not just like cameras looking down at him. You're on the floor. You're on his level, and I thought that was really cool to show you how, you know, he's gone from this wicked soldier to some dude on the floor with a lighter, like completely vulnerable. Like I said, some of the zombies, their makeup wasn't the best, but again, if you're on a tight budget, you know, you can only do so much, and you're going to put all your efforts into the main scenes, I guess. But overall, I think it was a really good film. I really enjoyed it. Like I say, watch it without the knowledge of what Resident Evil is, and you will appreciate what they were going for, especially if you know everything that, like, characters' backstories, because that's what I think ruined the film for a lot of people. Like they were going in expecting the game. If you want to watch a film that's the game, play the game. Don't watch the film. Completely different. But I do think that film was, out of all the Resident Evil films I've seen, that I would say that's probably one of my favourites. Now I do love the CG ones, the animation, whatever you want to call it, love them. The first two of the Mila Jokovich's ones were good. Like the first one was amazing, but I like what they've done with this one. I like how they've changed quite a lot of crucial parts, in a sense, like characters, but actually made it work. Again, it feels more believable. I think that's what this film really made a point of being. It was believable. Like you can imagine that there's this firm underground, and you know they're doing all sorts of experiments. You can imagine it. Yeah, it worked well. It worked really well, and they didn't oversaturate it with with zombies and monsters. So there was only one licker. There was Lisa Trevor, a zombie dog, and Birkin. There was 4 real kind of things in there. Oh, and the crow, in the crash site. Wesker's like, holy shit, what's that? And then they shoot it, and then he drops on the floor doing this weird dead animation. Love that. But yeah, overall, I would say that was a good film. So I do think Welcome to Raccoon City is, dare I say, the best Resident Evil live adaptation. Yeah. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. Make a video on it. Tell me what you think. But until then, I'll see you soon.